Hi reception, story time, and our story today is one of my favourites when I was little. It's called The Tale of the Naughty Little Rabbit, and it's all about this little rabbit. Do you know who he is? Peter Rabbit. Peter Rabbit, and it's by Beatrix Potter. And it says, there aren't many stories about naughty rabbits. That's because rabbits usually know how to behave themselves, but not this one. This naughty little rabbit becomes quite fat after sneaking under a gate and stumbling into a huge vegetable patch. This is the story of Peter Rabbit. The Tale of the Naughty Little Rabbit. In a snug little burrow beneath a tall fir tree in the heart of the wood lived a family of rabbits. There was Mrs. Rabbit and her three little daughters, Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail, who were all as good as gold. There's Mrs. Rabbit and Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail, and a burrow is where rabbits live. That's where they live. And then there was Peter. Here he is, look, one naughty little rabbit wearing his smart new coat. Naughty Peter. Today, Mrs. Rabbit had some shopping to do. You can play outside while I'm gone, she told her children. But remember, stay away from Mr. McGregor's garden. Mr. Rabbit had visited once and never come home. Also, they're allowed to play, but not in Mr. McGregor's garden. While Mrs. Rabbit was out, Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail busied themselves like good little bunnies, picking wild blackberries for tea. But not Peter. He ran straight to Mr. McGregor's garden. Here he is. Look, one naughty little rabbit squeezing himself under the gate. There's Peter doing the wrong thing. There's Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail collecting the blackberries. First, Peter ate some juicy fresh lettuce. Then he gobbled some crunchy green beans. Then he nibbled some spicy red radishes. Soon, Peter's tummy began to feel a bit funny. He looked around for some parsley, but instead he found... Got all the eating he's doing is a bit like the hungry caterpillar, isn't he? Mr. McGregor! Peter turned and ran as fast as his little rabbit legs would carry him, but Mr. McGregor chased after him, waving a rake and shouting, "Stop, thief!" Poor Peter was very frightened. In his panic, he couldn't remember the way back to the gate. He ran back and forth all over the garden with Mr. McGregor close behind him. Here he is, look, one naughty little rabbit running for his life. And they're chasing him. As Peter dashed through the vegetable patch, one of his shoes came off. Peter kept running. He lost his other shoe in the potatoes. Without his shoes, Peter ran even faster. He's still got his smart coat on though. Straight into the net around the gooseberry bushes. The big brass buttons of Peter's blue coat got tangled up. Suddenly, Mr. McGregor appeared over him. "You wretched little rabbit, I'll have you for my dinner," growled Mr. McGregor. Peter wriggled and squirmed to get free. And just before Mr. McGregor could trap him, Peter escaped. Oh, he's lost his coat. Maybe I'll be safe in the tool shed, thought the scared little rabbit. A big green watering can seemed like the perfect hiding place until Peter discovered how much water was inside. But Mr. McGregor had followed him into the tool shed. He began turning over the flower pots one at a time, searching for Peter. All of a sudden, he heard a rabbity sneeze. Achoo! From inside the watering can. Look how much water Peter's having to swim. There's Mr. McGregor looking for him. Poor Peter was out of the can in a flash. He ran away as fast as his little rabbit legs would carry him. He found his way back at last to the garden gate. Finally, Peter was safe in the wood again. He ran all the way home without stopping. Mr. McGregor found the two shoes and the new blue coat that Peter had left behind. He made them into a scarecrow to frighten away the birds. There's Peter's smart coat. Mum won't be pleased, will she? Back in the snug burrow, Mrs. Rabbit was not at all pleased that Peter had lost his shoes and coat. That evening, Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail had a delicious feast of bread and milk and freshly picked blackberries. And Peter, Mrs. Rabbit put him straight to bed without any supper, only a spoonful of chamomile tea to settle his aching tummy. Here he is, look, One naughty little rabbit, feeling rather sorry for himself. Don't you feel sorry for him too? There's the girls having their feast, Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail in the burrow. There's Peter, he's already in bed. I really like that story. Well done today, reception, for all your hard work, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Bye.